Hey, what's up? Welcome back. It's time to take another look at what new games are coming out this one for the month of March 2024. I'm off to a great start. Let's jump right into it. Kicking things off for us is Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. This is a total remaster of Pandemic Studios' 2000s era Battlefront games. They are bringing these classics into the modern day in celebration of the series' 20th anniversary. The remaster is being handled by Asper, the studio behind the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, as well as the recent Tomb Raider trilogy remasters. In the Battlefront Classic Collection, you'll be able to play, of course, Battlefront Classic and Battlefront 2, with all bonus content released for both games. This will include additional maps, modes, and heroes. You can play through both campaigns, experiencing the iconic battles from Star Wars Episodes 1 through 6, as well as joining the rise of Darth Vader's elite legion of stormtroopers. And then, of course, there is the multiplayer, large-scale battles with up to 64 players in massive locations where you can fight on the ground as Wookiee warriors, jet troopers, and droids, drive iconic vehicles like speeder bikes, ATSTs, and ATRTs, and pilot starships like the TIE Fighters and X-Wings in space and air dogfights. They've also expanded the Hero Assault mode to now be playable on all ground maps, including Death Star, Kamino, and Naboo for the first time. This mode lets you play as heroes like Mace Windu, Yoda, and Luke Skywalker, or villains Darth Maul, General Grievous, and Darth Vader. If you don't recall or weren't around at the time, these games were absolute bangers back in the day. In fact, there are plenty of people who still prefer these to the modern day Battlefield series, and hopefully this remaster holds up. If I get the time this month, I absolutely want to check out the game, at the very least to spend some time with the large-scale multiplayer. It's always a good fun time. The Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection will be coming to Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch on March 14th. Before we jump into the rest of this month's list, we got a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Unicorn Overlord, a retro fantasy strategy game where you embark on an epic RPG adventure exploring an expansive world, forging alliances, and liberating kingdoms. The game plays homage to classic 16 and 32-bit strategy RPGs with its 2D aesthetics and gameplay built for tactics fans who want to test their real-time strategy skills. Unicorn Overlord offers a range of features and activities. While playing through its 40 to 50 hour campaign, you'll go around gathering and training new allies, collecting materials to reclaim and rebuild towns, and taking on quests to unlock a variety of items and weapons. You'll work towards building a large roster of companions, letting you put together the ultimate squad for any given mission or stage, with different classes bringing their own unique skills and synergies to take on whatever challenges you face. There is a demo available for the game currently. If you're interested in checking it out and learning more, progress will carry on over into its full release, and Unicorn Overlord is available for pre-orders now and launches on March 8th for Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PlayStation 4. Alright, now let's jump into the next game on this month's list. This is Outcast: A New Beginning, the latest installment in the Outcast series, a third-person open-world action-adventure game developed by Appeal Studios. 20 years after the release of the award-winning original, Outcast: A New Beginning has you playing once again as Cutter Slade, an ex-Navy SEAL sporting the same dry wit he had back in the 90s. He's been resurrected by the almighty Yods and returned to find the Talons enslaved, the world stripped of its natural resources, and invading robot forces that need to be destroyed. It is up to you to go on the mission and save the planet once again. Now, in addition to being an open-world third-person action game, some key features of this include free traversal as you use your jetpack to jump, air dash, glide, and quickly move through the world. That world being fully open and explorable without boundaries, you can go wherever you please to discover hidden temples, dangerous enemies, and valuable rewards. It's got a non-linear story campaign, letting you decide how to best approach your goals and objectives. As you play, you'll get familiar with the Talon culture, helping them free villages and gain access to ancient powers that unlock the forces of nature to help you destroy your enemies. Speaking of which, there's also a crafting system where you can combine dozens of different modules to make your very own personal weapons to take down the robot invaders in whatever your preferred style is. This is one of those sort of mid-tier games which we have started to see a bit of a resurgence of in recent years, and what I really like about these kinds of games is that they're often willing to take more risks and try new and different things that most AAA franchises won't. Now, like other games of this caliber, they can be a bit hit or miss in terms of quality, but I think there's plenty of room in the industry for games of this kind, and I'm happy to see more of them because when they do happen to hit, it is a real nice surprise. Outcast: A New Beginning launches on March 15th, coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Lightyear Lightyear Frontier is a peaceful open-world farming adventure game set on a planet at the far edge of the galaxy. Your objective is simple and pretty chill. You have to start a new home out in space as you farm alien crops, build a homestead, and explore the untamed wilderness with up to 3 friends. This is a sit back and vibe kind of a game. In fact, to quote the developer, they say you'll enjoy a low-stress, combat-free experience without the need to manage things like thirst and hunger. Just focus on farming, exploration, and discovery. So here's some of the various things you can be doing. You will farm, build, and explore in a customizable mech, choosing from an array of tools, unlocking new upgrades, and personalizing your looks. You'll gather resources and then turn them into buildings, starting with basic structures and then enhancing them until you have a fully fledged futuristic farm. You'll collect seeds from all sorts of plants, place them in the ground, grow and harvest them, and then either trade those for credits or turn them into materials for building and upgrades. And this isn't just about clearing the landscape either, as you have to manage a relationship with the ecosystem, restoring the surrounding regions by cleaning up pollution, clearing out weeds, and replanting vegetation. Some exploration and discovery in this game as you venture into the wilderness in search of ancient secrets using a scanner satellite to decipher clues and uncover lost knowledge. And like I mentioned earlier, it is multiplayer. You can invite up to 3 friends to join you, pooling your resources to create the perfect exo farm and sharing the rewarding feeling of a good harvest with your pals. Like I said, it's a chill gathering game. Just sit back, gather, craft, build a base, do it with your friends. Absolutely, there is a market out there for a game like this. Lightyear Frontier is entering into Steam Early Access on March 19th. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a single-player, open-world, narrative-driven action RPG, sequel to the cult classic 2012 original. This game will take what made the first one great while adding and expanding upon it. At its core, Dragon's Dogma 2 centers around adventuring with deep RPG systems, engaging and challenging combat, and exploring a massive immersive world. This includes some really unique standout features. So for one, character creation is about more than just how you want to look. Like in the original, Dragon's Dogma 2 makes it so that your physical appearance, your height, weight, and build actually directly impact the gameplay. So you can make an oversized, strong, brutish type character, which lets you equip heavier items, have more carry capacity, and throw large objects further. But as a result of your size, your stamina and speed will take a hit, and you're going to have trouble getting into smaller spaces, as in you literally won't fit. And then on the extreme other end of the spectrum, you can choose to create a smaller character. You won't be able to carry as much, but you will be more nimble, quicker, and have more stamina, and then can physically fit into some of those smaller spaces. It's, again, more than just about how your character physically looks. The game also features dynamic action combat. This includes most of the expected mechanics. You got light and heavy attacks with combo chains, jump, dash, or block, and a grab, which is used for climbing and wrangling enemies. There's certain enemies will have a down state, so once their health gets low enough, they'll be staggered and you can perform finishers. There's a lot of physical interaction with the world, like you can pick up and throw enemies or even allies. You can grab onto and climb larger creatures, and you can destroy certain things in the world like bridges or dams. 4 skill slots for attacks and spells on top of 1 vocation action, which are unique mechanics for each of the game's classes. Speaking of which, you will get to play as one of 10 available vocations. These include the fighter, archer, thief, mage, warrior, sorcerer, magic archer, mystic, spearhand, trickster, and warfarer. And then besides your playable character, which you will level, progress, and gear up, you are also joined by companions known as pawns. These are basically just AI party members, but they are a bit more capable than what you might be used to from other games, mainly because of this system of them acquiring knowledge as you play. They basically pick up and learn from everything you see and do, completing quests, killing enemies, talking to NPCs, fighting bosses. All of this adds to their knowledge base, making them better and more helpful. So you're going to have one main pawn that you create and is with you at all times, but then also you can hire 2 additional pawns to join you. These pawns pulled from a pool of other pawns created by other players who have their very own base of experience and knowledge. So if you've got a difficult quest, a boss fight, need to farm specific enemy types or track down an NPC, look for a certain treasure, you can actually just search for pawns that other players have already done these things, and that will be a massive help to you as a result. It is a very cool system. Outside of these features, Dragon's Dogma 2 is said to be set in a world that is 4 times the size of the original game and loaded with hours and hours of exploration, adventure, and story. This is absolutely at the tippity top of my list for my most anticipated game of the month. I cannot wait to check out Dragon's Dogma 2. The game will be launching on March 31st, coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Horizon Forbidden West is finally making its way to PC this month. This port includes the full game in its entirety, along with bonus content and the Burning Shores expansion, which itself added new storylines, characters, and playable areas. So Forbidden West, if you aren't aware, is the sequel to 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn, set in a post-apocalyptic version of the western United States. Recovering from the aftermath of an extinction event caused by rogue robot swarms, you play as Aloy, exploring the open world, completing quests, helping along your adventure using ranged and melee weapons against hostile machine dinosaur-like creatures. Some of these specific features and enhancements coming with this PC port include ultra-wide and super ultra-wide support. In fact, they even have 48:9 triple monitor support. That is crazy. I thought ultra-wide screens were big enough, but triple monitor support, wow, look at that. Improved visuals thanks to the inclusion of NVIDIA DLSS 3, upscaling and frame generation, image enhancing with NVIDIA DLAA, and latency reducing NVIDIA Reflex. They've got in-depth settings letting you customize just about every graphical component, tweaking your settings to your specific desires, and there will be full DualSense controller support, including haptic feedback and adaptive trigger functionality. And lastly, unlocked frame rates. As high as your PC can push it, it'll be able to go. The console version of Horizon Forbidden West scored an average of about 88 on both Open and Metacritic. It is said to be a solid sequel to the first game, so barring the port wasn't done poorly, seems like this is going to be a pretty safe bet this month. Horizon Forbidden West is coming to PC via Steam on March 21st. And that concludes the bulk of the list of the games that I am most excited and interested in, but of course there are quite a few honorable mentions. Starting things off, we have got the Thaumaturge, an isometric story-rich RPG with a unique take on turn-based combat, character development features, and investigation mechanics, facing you with morally ambiguous choices set in a world teeming with mysterious powers and strange ethereal creatures. Some features include the ability to shape your story as a fully fledged RPG. It allows you to alternate your choices and having to deal with the aftermath. You can influence and manipulate the temperaments of others to bend their will to your liking. You'll experience this unique turn-based combat system and defeat foes using various attack skills and otherworldly abilities as you explore the uncommon, heavily researched historic period of early 20th century Warsaw, meeting historical features and learning their involvement in the story. The Thaumaturge launches on PC via Steam on March 4th. Winter Survival is a fully fledged single-player survival horror game set in a desolate frozen landscape. What was supposed to be a nice winter hike in the Mount Washington State Park with friends turned into a dire situation. You are left alone to fight for your survival. You'll explore, venturing through the snow-covered forest, mountains, and frozen lakes, grappling with treacherous terrain, deadly animals, and harsh winter conditions. Survival mechanics with cold, thirst, hunger, physical, and mental exhaustion being the 5 major factors you have to worry about. You'll also need to tend to injuries and sickness along with dealing with the weather. There's a sanity system where your mind becomes a problem much sooner than starvation as you experience hallucinations brought on by fear and stress. You'll have to hunt by setting traps to capture prey, crafting torches to scare away wolves, and using spears to protect yourself from apex predators. Gathering and crafting systems as you pick up resources and various materials to construct shelter and tools. And there are several modes, including story mode, hard mode, and sandbox mode. Winter Survival is entering Steam Early Access on March 6th. Alone in the Dark is a reimagination and love letter of the original 90s cult classic horror title of the same name. You'll experience this haunting story through the eyes of one of 2 protagonists. Exploring a mysterious manor, you encounter strange residents, nightmarish realms, dangerous monsters, and uncover a plot of rising evil. There have been some changes and key features for this iteration of the game. This includes an over-the-shoulder third-person perspective, doing away with the fixed camera angles of the original. The game's main focus focus is on investigating the environments and searching for clues to solve various puzzles and advance the story, and you can do this with as much or little assistance as you want with various toggles to change how much HUD display is giving you guidance through this process. There are a lot of mechanics that will be similar to the first game, but then modernized and improved upon, like combat will be consisting of firearms with melee weapons and throwable objects, along with various environmental hazards that can be used to give you the edge against monsters. This is a psychological horror game taking you through an atmospheric journey in a strange world. Alone in the Dark will be releasing on March 20th for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. And then finally on this month's list, we have got Outpost Infinity Siege, a game that blends FPS, tower defense, base building, and a few other genres into one. The developer says this game offers a rather unique experience combining tower defense, RPS, FPS, and RPG elements. Your main task is to build outposts and then defend them against imminent threats of hordes of creatures coming from every direction. Your defense comprises of a wide array of weaponry, but still you will need exceptional combat skills to deter those creatures and progress. Features include outpost building. You'll explore the world, gather resources, merge and upgrade outpost units to build your very own outpost. The game features exploration and survival as you enjoy the abundant difficulty levels, diverse gameplay features, and distinctive maps in exploration mode, venturing deep into brand new zones full of hazards and opportunities. And the game does feature co-op as well, letting you play through the game with friends. Outpost Infinity Siege is coming to PC via Steam on March 26. And then finally, I did briefly want to let you know about a beta test for this game called Level Zero Extraction. This is a multiplayer extraction horror game. They call this asymmetric PvPvPvE immersive FPS combat. So you can embark on these dangerous scavenging expeditions, searching for valuables and attempting to get out alive, either solo or with a team. Or you can play as the alien monsters that can only be killed by the light and try to make sure that none of the human players escape alive. Seems like an interesting twist on the extraction shooter genre. They will be holding a beta test this month from March 15th to the 18th. And that pretty much does it for this month's list. It is a pretty light month, all things considered. Now, at the moment, I am still blasting my way through Last Epoch. I've been thoroughly enjoying this latest entry into the ARPG genre. It's just been a nice new twist. I'm liking what they're doing. I think for sort of what I'd consider like a middle tier game, you know, priced at $35, this has been a real nice, pleasant surprise. But other than that, when it comes to new games coming out in March, I'm highly anticipating Dragon's Dogma 2. Absolutely cannot wait to play this game. I know it's going to take up a good chunk of my playtime this month. And then if I have the time, I would like to dive in and try Horizon Forbidden West and that Star Wars Battlefront collection. That seems like that should be some good fun as well. But with that, we will wrap up this month's list. Thank you guys as always for checking it out. Hope you enjoyed the vid. Let me know if you guys found any games in here that you are interested in. What do you plan on playing this month? Let me know below. But otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.